When they first came out, wrong time, you're going to stuff up your pre-season, injured, you rest, protect guys, you're not quite right for the URC and that sort of thing. But it's just clear, the players want to play it, the magnitude of it's got bigger and bigger quite quickly, you know what I mean? And we never run a pre-season like this, but this game, so we divided our pre-season into these 3 or 4 weeks up to this game, then we'll give them a week off, and then we'll do normal truncated pre-season. But the magnitude's there. So there's a lot of talk of 76. Pete Whip and Bossy Clark were handing out the jersey today, which is not something we normally do. There's talk of 76. I think Loftus are having a reunion for 76. 76 was such a powerful year in the country, for reasons far beyond rugby. So we even talked about that. So it's special. Our previous win wasn't long before, that was 1928. I found a bloke, it's true, I found this bloke who's got a season ticket, he's a lawyer, yesterday, and he's very old, he worked out now why. I said, were you there in 76, Eagle? He said, no, I was there in 49. So it's a big thing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's obviously something that most of us probably won't face again. I'm 35, so yeah. No, it's unreal, to think that you got a Brannas, obviously Brannas faced it in the World Cup final. Like, I'll use myself as an example. I'm 35, going to face it for the first time, and you got Yakin who's 20 years old. Going to face it for the first time. So it's an incredibly special occasion. The boys obviously know the magnitude of the game, and we obviously look. You don't do them justice or the occasion justice just by I said to the team running on and admiring them. You run onto the field and you actually compete. You give it your best crack. That's how you honor the occasion. You honor them. That's what they want. That's what we want. So that's the mentality for us. Obviously, we'll think about how big and how special it is afterwards. But at the end of the day, we're competitors. We want to really, see how far we can push ourselves. So it's doing against the All Blacks for the first game of the season. What an occasion that would be. So yeah, and it's going to be like it.
I think the trip in, at Lions Tour, you were part of it was such a unsatisfactory product, wasn't it? We had about 8 guys out in the week with COVID. There was Springbok A and Springboks in the bubble. There was no crowd. We all took 40 or 50, all the franchises. And I think if we're going to, this traditional touring is going to have value. The midweek teams at some stage are going to have to get very close or turn one of these teams over. Otherwise, they are going to lose their value. So I feel a bit of responsibility around that. And then find out in the openers, I just think if franchises are going to roll over and the time is tickled, then this tour thing's not going to work. So there's that piece as well. And we had Bossy Clark this morning and came in, and it was nice because he reminisced about it, the build-up, and he thought the 12-11 flattered the All Blacks, but we scored in the last minute. So that's hard to see how. So that piece has been a big part of it, that team, and I think that's a negative thing about rugby because it's just the All Blacks are coming to our change room tomorrow for a beer. The referees will join us. Well, I'll see. But we play against a team from Italy or Wales. They come in here, some of them don't even shower. We're the same, obviously. Put on tracksuits and just have this narrative behind it. It's so cool. It's special. So,
let's look at. I don't think anybody has got the mindset or illusion that it's going to be a hit out. Like I said, we've literally been hammering around the whole week. Everybody's been talking about that. 50 years ago, the Western Province team that won. We want to be a part of that history as well. We want to, hopefully not in the next 50 years, should we pull off the win tomorrow. Only 50 years from now, there's another win. But we want to write our own page in the history of the franchise. You're not going to do that by approaching this game as a hit out. I'm pretty sure they're not approaching the game as a hit out against a franchise team of South Africa. These guys are probably playing for test spots against the Springboks. When those 23 get announced in a couple of weeks' time. So that's our mentality as well. Like I just said, you do that justice by running out there, and you actually want to be the best version of yourselves. We want to be true to ourselves, to our supporters, the people that pay to watch us play. So we're under no illusion that it's going to be a hit out for some guys, and obviously I know what you're referring to, like a guy like Evan who wants to maybe get back into the Springbok squad. I think you do that by playing for the team and with the team. I think once you go individualistic, you're actually putting yourself more, it's actually to the detriment of yourself than actually buying into the cause of the team, what we want to do and implement ourselves there. So, the guys are definitely not in it, that a couple of guys want to get back into the box squad, a couple of guys are just, just happy for the occasion. We really want to do something special tomorrow evening in front of our supporters.